At Room to Room, there's no need to wait. Black Friday deals are going on now.
Ready for the best sleep you've had in years? For a limited time only, get an heirloom king-size mattress for the price of a queen.
Room to Room Tupelo, where we know there's no place like your home.
Give the gift of a delicious burger from Bulldog Burger, a soup and sandwich from Sweet Pepper's Deli, appetizers and cocktails from The Grill, or even a wood-fired steak from Harvey's. Choice is the perfect gift. An all-in-one gift card from Eat With Us.
Mississippi's trusted weather experts. This is Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Good evening. Officially halfway through that work week, and we can smell the weekend from here. Welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 10. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynard, and we have an action-packed show on the ground, but also up in the sky heading into the next couple of days. As we get into that forecast, our headline, of course, the start of the headlines is going to be that dense fog advisory in place for some. I wish I had a little bit of addition on that headline right there, but it's not going to affect everybody, but already getting some of that dense fog developing in parts of North Mississippi. We'll track that in just a moment, but we also have an update to those rain chances, increase in chances for tomorrow, increase in confidence, should I say, but a decrease in confidence for Friday. Not that it won't happen, but a decrease in confidence because of the coverage, and you'll see that in just a moment. Definitely things are trending in a drier direction. We'll look at that here in the Room to Room Weather Center in just a moment. So how will that impact football? Talking about Friday's rain chances, we'll break that down with our football forecast and really talk about where to expect those showers to take place. The first 12, as you can see, foggy conditions moving in for the start of our Thursday morning. 65 degrees right now, falling off into the low 60s overnight. Whenever you have this much moisture in the environment with very little wind clearing that out, it really limits how much we do decrease those temperatures overnight. So that's why it is still a pretty mild start. As the morning goes on, though, you're already seeing a difference in those rain chances. 10% by 8, 20% there by 11, and the potential to reach 30% by the afternoon. Again, we do like how rain chances are coming into the forecast. That frontal system trending a little bit more south, and we'll see that here in just a moment. Let's go ahead and take a look at that outside right now. Batesville, 63 degrees in that dense fog advisory as well. You are getting a little bit of those that moisture on the ground kind of reflecting that light right there, and that's why it looks a little bit like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Just a little bit of a reflection. It's not exactly a clear, pristine look. 63 degrees right now with dew points at 61, so it shows you a very moist environment on the ground, and that's not just in Panola County, also in Pontotoc County, getting a good look at that as well. Maybe getting a bit of fog settling right there on the horizon. A little bit tough to see with the diminished light that we do have down there, but from what we can see, you can definitely see that fog is building ever so slightly. 64 degrees, feeling like 64, dew point 63 degrees. As we jump out onto Blue Springs, this of course in Union County, roadways are looking good to go. Doesn't look like anyone's having to use a low beam so far this evening. That's a great sign, but the night is just getting started, and we do expect that fog to really roll in as we get into those overnight hours. But 64 degrees, dew point still in the low 60s, shows you that we are in a very saturated environment. As we look at that dense fog advisory, expires Thursday at 10 a.m., not just for Pontotoc, not just for Panola, not just for Union County. It's all across North Mississippi, basically along and north of Highway 6. Down south along 82 and south, not really expecting as much fog, but the potential of a few areas having some isolated patchy fog. It's a realistic possibility, but this is where that advisory is in place, and for northwest Alabama for Pickens, Lamar, and out there towards Marion County in northwest Alabama. Luckily, Mississippi Live Weather Radar staying on the drier side. A little bit of those showers out there towards Tennessee. Not going to be impacting our area as we put this on a loop about an hour right there. You can see a lot of these trending out towards the east. This is going to be a part of that stationary front that we said was going north. Evidence is right there in front of you as we do see it north in the Jackson, Tennessee area, a little bit far away from us here in North Mississippi, relatively speaking. Severe weather risk, again, not expecting any of these showers to be on the stronger side. Our severe weather risk still is out there towards Texas, right in the central and northeast part of Texas into eastern Oklahoma and southwest Missouri. And we are getting a few severe thunderstorm warnings as a result, as you can see right there towards Oklahoma, that of course expiring as the night goes on. But evidence that the severe weather risk is in place for a reason, and we hope that folks stay safe out there as we deal with that severe weather threat. Thursday, the threat does continue towards Waco, Dallas, and Fort Smith, even towards Fayetteville, Arkansas, encompassed within that. But a level 1 risk, not expecting a lot of reports, but the potential for a few severe thunderstorms is possible as that cold front inches closer. That's a part of that frontal system that we'll track here in just a moment. So as we get a look at our Mississippi Live Weather Radar, our surface analysis right here, you do see this stationary front that has developed right over the top of us. That is going to transition into a warm front as we get into those overnight hours, and that warm front going to lift a little bit more north and carrying a large portion of this moisture away with it. As you take a look right there, 10, 11, even into that midnight hour there, you're still getting a large batch of moisture right along this line. And if we bring it back in here to North Mississippi, you can see some isolated chances out there south of Nashville, Columbia, Tennessee, not exactly reaching into North Mississippi. I have at some points of the night around 10%, but I was not going anywhere above that. Honestly, 10% seemed a little bit on the higher end. So the potential's there, but we're asleep at this point anyway, not exactly going to impact our forecast. Then the transition comes and our warm front starts to develop a part of this frontal system that's a little bit more well-defined and going to bring us some elevated rain chances moving forward. Of course, this warm front is going to bring that warm, moist air out from the Gulf, and that's what we get with back behind these warm fronts, that warm sector is what we call it. And with that warmer air, with the moisture that's already in place, and with this being a lifting mechanism, wouldn't be surprised to see those showers to develop by your Thursday morning. But those chances really climb getting into our Thursday afternoon. But still, our main threat, or our main expectancy for showers is out here towards El Paso, Midland, and Lubbock. As you can see, I mean, the evidence is again right there, right along that cold front as that inches closer to the central parts of Texas and brings with it some elevated chances of some strong storms as well. 9 a.m. still getting that main batch of where we're watching for a large batch of that moisture. Wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of flooding concern out there in Texas for tomorrow just because of how much rainfall will be coming down in a very short period of time. But over here in North Mississippi, we're getting this cluster of showers that are starting to develop there by mid-morning on our Thursday. So rain chances trending up as we get towards that Thursday morning time frame because this warm front is lingering right over the top of us here in North Mississippi. Of course, it's not comparable to what folks are getting out there in southern Missouri and Kentucky and Illinois. I mean, we're very isolated comparatively speaking, but at least we're getting something in that forecast and that verifying a little bit more than what we had even 4 hours ago at the 6 o'clock broadcast. So if you're wanting rainfall, well, going north might help, but at least we do have some increased chances by our afternoon time frame. 61 degrees by 6, 69 by 9, 77 by noontime, and then we're climbing into the upper 70s by the afternoon. There's a look at those rain chances, 30% by noon, even into that final part of our school day. So picking up the kids might need that rain gear on standby. Again, we'll break down that forecast in more detail, county by county, coming up here in the next 60. We're also going to talk about those football forecasts for Friday because, yeah, Thursday is not the end of the rain chances. We keep those going into Friday, and we have a better look at what to expect with those chances coming up here from the Room to Room Weather Center in the next 60 for Mississippi Live Weather at 10.
Growing up, Gabe was naturally curious. When he began to discover weather, Gabe just didn't want to know what was happening, but he wanted to know why it was happening. Gabe became fascinated with tornadoes, and it impacted his life. He wanted to pursue a career in meteorology. Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me.
That was perfect.
But I heard every word.
Right now, from the Mississippi Live Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
So here's a look at record high temperatures for November 19th. I know I forgot to change the low at the top of the screen, but this is record high temperatures for November 19th in history. And what a hot year 1942 was, setting the record in multiple locations in Greenville, Tupelo, and Memphis. And that threshold, 81 degrees Memphis, 82 in Tupelo, and 85 in Greenville. Here's how we fared today. Our high temperatures reported across the region, getting into that 80-degree threshold in Tupelo, 79 towards Greenwood and around Memphis, with some of those showers working their way through. Didn't warm up too much, so no record-setting day, but man, were we close. Only a 2-degree difference separating us here in Tupelo, and about a 6-degree difference down there towards Greenwood. Now, nonetheless, record-setting or not, it was still a toasty one today, especially whenever you consider it's November 19th. We're supposed to be cold. Temperatures right now still sitting pretty mild. 65 in Houston, 64 in New Albany, 64 in Greenwood, and 67 towards Cleveland. I walked outside yesterday calling Annalise on the phone, and I walked outside and it was like, ew, this is disgusting feeling. It's humid, it's hot. We left this back in summer. It's not supposed to be here in late fall. Unfortunately, it is, because we're in North Mississippi, and North Mississippi will do what North Mississippi does. Our Mississippi Live Weather Radar stays on the drier side. As you can see, a lot of those showers out there towards the Tennessee state line. Again, that is going to be associated with a few of those, or that stationary front that we've been tracking all night long from Dyersburg to Jackson to Lawrenceburg over there in Tennessee. That's going to continue to remain with those showers developing. And as you can see, those rainfall totals lining up pretty well. I know you're looking at these rain totals out here towards the Tennessee state line, but those were actually from earlier on today before a lot of us woke up. If you walked out the door and noticed that your front patio might have been a little bit damp, well, that's what happened overnight, and a few of those rainfall outputs pretty decent as well. If we highlight in a few of those totals, you can see about a 3/4 of an inch across Prentiss County, Tishomingo County, all the way into Franklin County there towards northwest Alabama. And as we get into that forecast, of course, we are tracking cloudy conditions for the rest of us that did not see rainfall. So dry or not, it was a gloomy day all across North Mississippi. And we're adding to that gloom by bringing some of those clouds to the surface with those dense fog advisories in place tonight until 10 a.m. on your Thursday. So make sure to use those low beams on that morning commute, because those foggy conditions, especially some dense fog in some isolated spots, it's no joke for sure. Just blankets that road and makes it hard to see as we get out on those roadways. So our day planner for tonight, what are we expecting? I always put day planner. I wanted to just change it to night planner at this point. 64 degrees by midnight, 63 by 3 a.m., only dropping off to the low 60s by 6 a.m. Foggy conditions do linger in our area towards that morning commute, but so do those mostly cloudy skies. It's just going to be a gloomy forecast, all things considered. So that's why you need to smile tomorrow, because we need something to brighten our day. Our futurecast, of course, having that stationary front right over the top of us, and that is what's driving this forecast with that moisture so far this evening. As you can see, those isolated showers towards Bolivar, Savannah, and Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, out of our area, so not expecting a drop overnight. Potentially a little bit of activity along the Tennessee state line, but those chances are 10%, and 10%, like I said earlier, may even be on the higher end. Showers and thunderstorms do start to develop out there in Hot Springs, Arkansas, well into Little Rock by 4 a.m., and those inch closer to North Mississippi by that 6 o'clock hour, getting out the door. So for folks in Tunica County or Tate or DeSoto County, dealing with a few of those showers throughout your morning commute, depending on when you leave. Low temperatures, of course, a little bit more mild out there in the Delta. Every time at 10 o'clock, I have to sneeze. Go away, go away. I think we did. Okay, sweet. Woo, let's hope we can last a couple more minutes. 62 degrees in Oxford tomorrow morning, 62 in Amory, and 60 down there towards Macon. But like we said, a little bit warmer out there in the Delta, because it is going to be dealing with a little bit more moisture, and that kind of blankets our sky. Our school bus forecast, pickup, going to be phenomenal for this time of year. Students, you could get away with shorts and a t-shirt tomorrow with 63 degrees at pickup, 79 by drop-off, and there's rain chances picking up by the afternoon. Let's go ahead and track that out, because that is a little bit of a difference from our 6 o'clock hour. And what exactly has changed? The positioning of the front. As we see right here, that warm front right over the top of basically Tunica County in northwest Mississippi, there's where those showers will start to develop an inch closer to northwest Mississippi. As we track that out and zoom in, 9 a.m., we're dealing with that in DeSoto, in Tate, and Tunica, and a little bit out there in Panola County. Now that does inch further into North Mississippi as we get into that late morning, early afternoon time frame. So some decent outputs of rainfall moving right into that northwest portion of North Mississippi before before extending across the Tennessee state line and giving decent rain outputs even towards Marshall County, Benton County, Tippah County. Just a good rainy forecast right along the Tennessee state line. That being said, folks south of 6, not looking good for you. When it comes to rain chances, a lot of that just going to remain further towards our north and everyone else staying on the drier side. So Tupelo right on the cusp of that, may deal with a few drops here and there, but not going to be as widespread for folks up north. I mean, compare this to the forecast that they're getting in Missouri. Night and day difference. So we're just counting our drops, whereas they can't escape the water. And as we get into that Thursday evening time frame, of course, that does continue to be the case. The potential for a few light showers moving back into the forecast by 6 p.m. And if I do see a few decent outputs moving towards Marshall County once again. So a few bands working their way on through, but this is all going to remain right over the top of this warm front. And as this warm front remains in North Mississippi, the potential for some showers also remains in that forecast. So Thursday evening, any plans you may have, just go ahead and take that rain gear to be on the safe side. Unless you live south of Highway 82, I'd say you're good to go and going to be on the drier side once again. High temperatures though, Thursday, going to be toasty, 79 degrees in Tupelo. We felt that today, potentially feeling that again tomorrow. 73 South Haven and 75 around Corinth. Reason why is that Tennessee state line dealing with a little bit more rainfall, so that prevents how much we do heat up here in North Mississippi. Down south, where it's a little bit drier, it's going to be a little bit warmer with low 80s showing up all across Highway 82 and for portions south. Our record is 80 degrees, so the potential to tie that is once again on the table, and that was back in 1942. 1942. What a hot forecast. I wonder what was going on back then. 9 p.m. on your Thursday. Let's continue to track this out. And again, this is our, let me get out of the way, HRRR model. That's one of our short-range models that is a little bit more reliable whenever it comes to positioning on these showers, and it does have a better outlook for our forecast. Let's go ahead and track that out. So Thursday night, of course, going to be wet in some spots, but only a light rainfall, not going to be too impactful. Once we get into those 2-3 o'clock time frames, you start to see this large batch of showers continue to work their way up there towards the northeast and really up in a northerly trajectory, and that's going to keep it away from us here in North Mississippi for the most part. I mean, none of this darker green or yellows or oranges are popping up in North Mississippi, and those will continue to inch north away from us, unfortunately, as we get further into that 6 o'clock broadcast. Again, that frontal system being overtaken by the one back behind it, as we saw. Let me just take it back, because the orientation on this frontal system is definitely one to pay attention to. So as we cycle this back, I'm going to zoom it out once again, and we're going to look at this forecast in more detail. So you start to see this low have a negative tilt to it, meaning that that negative tilt is basically the end of the lifespan whenever it comes to these frontal systems. So that basically gets overtaken by the next system, and as you can see, it's starting to wrap around some of that moisture around that low and that counterclockwise circulation, and that's why a lot of these rain chances start to trend a little bit north of us here in North Mississippi. But then we get it to be overtaken by that cold front, and that cold front then starts to move closer here to North Mississippi, carrying that energy with it and the potential for a few showers once again. So looking at this forecast, we're talking 6, 7, 8 o'clock. The best chance for rainfall is going to be down there in the coastal regions, Hattiesburg, Meridian, Jackson. Main chances remaining down there with a few isolated spots up here in North Mississippi. Bringing it back here, 9 a.m. into that noontime hour. You can see we do have some isolated development over the top of us, but noontime, definitely looking a lot different than noontime did 4 hours ago in our 6 o'clock broadcast. So HRRR not agreeing with this model, or not agreeing with these this moisture, and it does have us staying on the drier side. And once again, we're basically sandwiched between two masses of showers, because this one working its way into Birmingham, as you can see, you kind of get the trajectory that it's taking right here. Yep, right around North Mississippi, right around our viewing area, and the one earlier on basically worked its way right here. So this area, North Mississippi, is basically getting blocked by all of those rain chances, or at least the best rain chances. We're going to get some isolated stuff, but not anything widespread. Now that's good, because Friday afternoon and evening, what do we have? Playoff football. We don't want rainfall to be attached to it. Some locations will, but we're not talking widespread chances, so basically say your prayers tonight. Don't do the rain dance tomorrow, and I think that you will be good to go come Friday evening to at least stay on somewhat drier conditions at least some point in the game as these work their way on through. Isolated coverage is a much better outlook than what we were looking at days earlier this week. So Take it as a blessing. It definitely is. High temperatures for Friday, 74 degrees in Tupelo, 75 Houston, and 75 towards Bruce. This is trending a little bit more down than what things have been, and we'll start to feel a little bit more like fall if you've missed it like me. 76 in Kosciuszko, 75 down around Macon. We are continuing to cool off. But look at this forecasted rainfall because this really gives you a perspective on this forecast. Quarter of an inch around the area. That's not a bad forecast until you zoom things out and get the broader perspective. Because as you look, I told you that we were basically sandwiched between the two chances of rainfall. This is over the next 3. If I would have put next 5, then it would have shown that next batch working its way through Birmingham. But we're getting ½ inch in Memphis, 3/4 of an inch in Jonesboro, and up to 2 inches around Fayetteville. So the fact we're getting only 1/4 of an inch is like, you're getting scammed almost whenever it comes to this forecast because you're not getting the best part of this forecast in that good output of rainfall. So yes, rain chances going to be in the forecast for Friday. Now this is a point forecast, so of course this is one that will vary as we get further into that forecast, but I do want to say rain chances a bit ambitious. 60% chances. I don't believe it. I think we're going to push this back to about a 30% coverage for our pregame forecast, and same thing by halftime in that final snap. 70 degrees pregame and 66 by final snap. Do agree with that. But rain chances, we're not talking this widespread whenever we're talking about this forecast for Friday night. Of course, we are going to be down in West Point to see Pontotoc come into town and maybe take down the state champs. Who knows? They're title town for a reason, so it's going to be an uphill battle, but I'm just hoping for some good highlights out there on that football field. And Eastern Illinois taking on our lone SEC matchup here in Northwest Alabama, North Mississippi. Alabama Crimson Tide taking on Eastern Illinois. Some lingering moisture is in the forecast for that first play, halftime, and final snap for that 1 o'clock kickoff. But temperature-wise, as good as you can get in Bryant-Denny for a November game day. 75 by halftime and 70 around that final snap. It's looking good for that forecast for sure. And trends are on the drier side moving forward. Saturday only around 20%. Sunday pretty much clear. And then our next system moves in by Monday and Tuesday. Still around 40% coverage, but that's a forecast that really expect to be flexible on because models still not in agreement as we get closer to the start of next week. So what to take from this? Models are not agreeing with each other. So that makes forecasting these chances a little bit on the difficult side. So this is a forecast that I expect to change. Meteorologist Maggie McCauley will be up tomorrow morning tracking the latest model runs for the morning broadcast. Highly recommend you guys join her to see how things have trended because we're taking each model run and assessing that in more detail and then fine-tuning this forecast as we get further into the future. So with that being said, you need to tune into all of the Mississippi Live weather streams because this is a forecast that we're going to continue to update you guys on and expect that to change because Friday's rain chances, they could move back into the forecast as we get further into our Thursday. So we're not completely diminishing that potential, but it does show a downtrend at least over the last couple of runs. So we're fingers crossed and hopeful that our Friday night games stay on the drier side. That being said, go ahead and download that Mississippi Live weather app. Keeps you guys informed on what's happening here in North Mississippi. And of course, it's free on iOS and Android. That first layer of protection, it was actually let me know there was a dense fog advisory before I got on the computer to see that there was a dense fog advisory. So it's a tool for meteorologists as well as it is for the everyday people here in North Mississippi. So appreciate you guys just supporting us and joining us on this journey. That being said, I'm trying to look in chat here real quick. Okay, you guys are talking about the games. MSU and Ole Miss. Their next game is next week on Black Friday. They're going to be taking on the Egg Bowl. That is their last games. So there we go. And we'll see what happens. I know the Maynard household is divided, especially on the Egg Bowl. So we're just hoping for a good game, and we'll shake hands at the end of it and congratulate the victor because it's big things both ways. Because you have, if the state wins the Egg Bowl, they make a bowl game. If Ole Miss wins the Egg Bowl, they make the playoffs. Both a positive. One's a little bit more weight than the other, but I'm a biased state fan. What can I say? All right, we're going to wrap this broadcast up. I know you guys need to get to bed. As you can see, our next broadcast is going to be happening at 6:30, 7, and 7:30 with meteorologist Maggie McCauley. And of course, we will be back at 5, 6, and 10 for your Thursday evening show here on Mississippi Live Weather. Thank you so much for keeping it here for the very latest, and we will see you guys bright and early, cup of coffee in hand with meteorologist Maggie McCauley.